Hello, my name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today I want to talk about data privacy and the data risk involved with age verification. And the example I'll use is the US. So in the US, children do not have, or let me back up. In the US, we don't have national identity systems. So the major system that we have in the US that everyone is supposed to have is a social security number at birth that gets assigned to them. Okay, so that number is really a number to say I am eligible for certain benefits from the government. Maybe when I retire, maybe if a parent is disabled or deceased, or if I'm injured in some way. That's what the number is for or was for. It was never intended to be an identity document. And there we've seen a lot of abuse of social security numbers because some people have tried to use it as identity documents. But we're seeing companies move away from that because a lot of the fraud involved there. But children under the age of 16 are not required to have identification. So typically, someone under the age of 16, let's say they have a parent and they go overseas with a parent, they will have to get a passport, but not everybody has a passport, right? And so the keeper of identity records for children under 16 are typically schools, right? And you go to different schools, so different schools will have your information. So it's fragmented. Now, as a result of that, that's why we're seeing some companies when they're trying to figure out who is under 16, under 18, they're trying to use things like selfies and they're trying to ascertain someone's age by looking at them. Also, they have situations where, like, let's say a parent creates an account and says, okay, my child is X age and sets a profile up for them. So then that account can be restricted. This can be a problem, especially for like emancipated minors who may have a guardian, not a parent in the same way, or their own parent. And like, how do they get ID documents and stuff into a system? But then also, in order to tell who is over 16, um, you have to know who's under 16. So that's the reason why a lot of age verification or age assurance activities are requiring your ID as an adult, your information as an adult, not just the child's information, because they're such a fragmented system. So, what this creates first of all, what it creates from a consumer perspective is a lot of data giving to a lot of online systems, whether that be an OS maker, like your phone maker, or an app that you want to use, or a service on the internet that you want to use. So a lot of information is going into these systems for adults, right? So what that's creating is duplication of information, which create and duplication creates risk because your information is spread across these different places. We've already seen some companies who do that type of identification where they want you to upload information. That information may not be properly secured or deleted. So, in my view, once you figure out someone is a certain age, those documents should be deleted. But we're not seeing companies do that, and they're getting into data breaches. And then for people who are under 18 or 16, what it creates is a lot of fragmented identities around the internet into different places. So for the user, that creates more work, especially the adults, to put stuff in the systems. For the under 18, under 16 person, it creates these fragmented identities that could possibly, if they're breached, be misused in some way. And I think it just creates more risk for companies, especially those who don't know how to handle sensitive data in that way. So we saw that with this T app where they were having people put in their passport or their ID to verify if they were a certain age, but then that company got breached. And a lot of that is because some of these companies that are being forced to do ID verification aren't leveling up on their governance to be able to do it in a way that keeps the data safe. So it's going to be very interesting to see this rollout. I'm already hearing groanings from people who probably thought that when you say age verification or age assurance, that you're talking about having a kid put their ID online, and it really is about an adult putting your ID online so that they can tell the adults from the children. So we'll see how this plays out. It's very interesting. I think OS makers will probably be the ones that will be pushing the most or have the most influence on how this gets rolled out to different people. But I'm interested to see a lot more creative solutions that creates more certainty and less risk, less duplication, and less fragmentation in data. That's it. Thank you.